The Israeli assault on Gaza has brought the word genocide back into public discourse. Millions of people have mobilized to protest this apparent attempt to wipe out Palestinians in Gaza and steal and settle the last remaining Bantustans in the West Bank. It's commendable. We can and should stop this bloodshed. But it's not the only genocide going on now, and there'll be more in the future. We don't just want to stop one, we want to stop them all. Like all complicated topics, genocide has different definitions, but probably the most commonly accepted is that of the United Nations, specifically in the Rome Statute that constitutes the International Criminal Court. Genocide is attempting to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group by killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to destroy the group, preventing births within the group, and forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. I don't like to cheapen the word by straying from this definition. Not all war or even mass atrocity is genocide. That said, many people have argued convincingly that the current massacre of Palestinians and the invasion of Ukraine fit this definition. Israel is killing and starving people that have nothing to do with its military targets. It's destroyed hospitals and other necessary infrastructure, cut off water, and taken people's land. That's all well documented, but if you needed to hear it from the horse's mouth, in the description I link to a thread of officials, officers, journalists, and soldiers who say genocide is very much their intent. In Ukraine, along with all the killing and countless war crimes committed along the way, Russia is trying to annex as much territory as possible and erase Ukrainian identity within that territory. To this end, it has kidnapped thousands of Ukrainian children in order to make them Russian. I'm not a lawyer, but both of these cases seem to fit our definition. We already know their goals. An always growing number of Israelis wants to eliminate anyone who could possibly hurt one of their own, which they have decided includes all Palestinians. They want to take all Palestinian land as a big step in the settler colonial project of Eretz Israel. Russia wants its old empire back, which includes Ukraine and, of course, Georgia, which Russia invaded in 2008. It annexed a bit of territory and kicked out the Georgians. National identities like Ukrainian, Georgian, and Moldovan are a threat to unity under the thumb of Putin. I think we should try to stop these states any way we can. But permanently ending genocide is a much greater, much more long-term question. Because what if, through some international coalition for solidarity, through disobedience, direct action, and sabotage, we managed to end these genocides? It might only be a matter of months or years until the next one starts somewhere. How do we prevent it? To answer that question, like so many of the questions that I ask, we need to know something about the state. Genocide is impossible without the involvement of the state. I've talked about it in a bunch of videos, like this one, so I'll keep it brief here. The state emerged thousands of years ago and gradually spread itself around the world. But the modern state, the model that all states follow today, comes from feudal Europe. It conquered the lands and kingdoms around itself, then told all of its subjects they were part of a nation, this eternal cultural unit they should all be loyal to. States have committed all the worst atrocities in history in order to expand the power of those at the top. The modern state was forged by nationalism, racism, imperial conquest, slavery, war, and genocide. States continue to engage in or condone these activities and repress anyone who tries to stop them. Genocide is considered an option to rid oneself of pests. The modern state has all the tools for carrying out a genocide. They've got police to round everyone up and suppress protest, soldiers if they put up a real fight, prisons and other facilities to hold as many people as they want and do whatever they want to them, surveillance to collect information, databases to store it, bureaucracy to facilitate the process, a compliant press to tell us how to feel, and the trappings of democracy to make it all look legitimate. It has effectively unlimited resources to buy from huge corporations that are only too happy to help them put their plans into action, just like these firms did during the Holocaust. And if other people want to stop the genocide, what can they they do. You might get millions to show up in the streets, but that alone doesn't stop anything except traffic. A few people might literally go over there and try to stop the killing, but most of us have to beg the state that rules over us to put pressure on that other one. The state also has nationalism, thanks to which you'll always get some citizens to support whatever the state does. By creating nations and nationalism, states attempt to assimilate everyone, to make us think and sound the same. Nationalism divides people from each other based on arbitrary differences like which side of a made-up line they were born. It teaches us to be loyal to people and institutions that have power over us. If you disagree that you're part of the country because you didn't want to be conquered and assimilated, you have to be forced to change your mind. Or if not you, your kids. In Canada, until recently, you might have got scolded for implying Canada had committed genocide against Indigenous people under its rule. What changed recently? Canada could no longer sweep its history under the rug. See, these revelations came out about concentration camps for Native children, euphemistically called residential schools. Kids were kidnapped from their communities and stripped of their language and culture. They were beaten, starved, and neglected. Thousands of them died. Now, as much as I'm opposed to all forms of school, even the most dangerous schools don't kill and bury children in the hundreds without even telling the parents. But that's over, right? They ended residential schools way back in, 1997. So there are probably only tens of thousands of people alive today who'd been traumatized by them. But the white supremacist ideology behind genocide persists. Canada was forcibly sterilizing Native women as late as 2019, and Natives are frequently targeted by police for prison and death. On a side note, it's revealing that the Catholic Church has taken the bulk of the criticism for residential schools when it was the RCMP, the Mounties, who kidnapped them in the first place. Today, the Catholic Church is no longer killing natives, but the RCMP still is. Everything the state does, it does by force. States spread uniformity by making everyone under their territory follow the same laws, and soon the same culture and language. Everyone gets blended and homogenized so they can be easily governed and turned into workers, consumers, and soldiers. Even today, when we live in cultures made up of people from around the world, we still share the affliction of being indoctrinated and limited by authority. We now think exclusively within this system created for us. All hope for something else feels like science fiction. Bigotry is an essential tool of the state for keeping us divided. We're all taught to think and act the same, but to care about our superficial differences. European states arrived in the Americas 500 years ago and started claiming land for themselves. Imposing their laws and their notions of property over their new territory meant foisting it on the native people at gunpoint. You might have noticed most people don't like being told what to do under threat of imprisonment or death. So they fought back. Obviously, history is more complicated than that, but when states and the settlers they represented have tried to colonize, locals have tried to resist. The history of the Americas is littered with examples where states or settlers with the state's approval tried to exterminate indigenous people. Bigotry makes it easy to kill and enslave people who are in the wrong group. It gives you reasons why you deserve their land. The current state of settler colonial projects like Canada, the US, Australia, South Africa, and Israel is white people are still at the top of power hierarchies and indigenous people are still at the bottom. Indigenous people are still impoverished and treated like dirt regardless of how many territorial acknowledgements people do. If groups other than my own are treated poorly, I will be higher than them in the social hierarchy. They don't deserve to have as much as I have. Plus, I heard they're all a bunch of criminals anyway. That's all it takes for many people to accept violence of any magnitude. Persuade them that whole group hasn't earned the right to live, like yours has. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but Hitler got a lot of ideas from how empires like Britain and the US dealt with the native people they wanted to conquer. It's great those states banded together to stop Hitler, but why didn't they do anything to stop the German state from decimating the Herero and Nama people from 1904 to 1908? Or, for that matter, to stop the enslavement of millions of people in the Belgian Congo around the same time? It's because they agreed not to interfere interfere in each other's overseas empires, which only lasted about 6 more years, but still, the subject people were in Africa. We're not supposed to care about them. To this day, there's a large part of the population of these settler states that wants to forget about and remain separate from the colonized population, and that likes law enforcement because maintaining that separation is a big part of its job. Such people have shown if they're exposed to enough right-wing media, they can be whipped into a frenzy of bloodlust. They can easily be encouraged to support a genocide. They just need to be told that entire groups of people have become intolerable vermin and that it's time for a final solution. You might have to change the words, but seeing what they've been cheering on recently, you might not. They wouldn't see it as a bad thing, but as a cleansing, a renewal, the beginning of a time with no bad people, presumably. It's like this twisted dystopian fantasy. Remove, convert, or kill off this entire group and also those other ones, and finally we'll be whole. No one will be able to break the law again. Everyone will think like me. Everyone will be the same. Gross. And these white settler colonies have a lot to answer for, but it's not just white people. It's the state. Many states would rather end a group of people completely than compromise with them. Look at Myanmar. It has lots of different people in it, and not all of them want to be a part of it, so they're in conflict with the state. At least we hear about the case of the Rohingya people, which has been called a genocide, but many more atrocities against other groups have been documented as well. Then there's Ethiopia. There's Sudan. There's the destruction of the Amazon, which necessarily means the destruction of the people of the Amazon. Why are native people all over the world under attack? Because the land they rely on and consider sacred is in the way of growth. The corporation has to keep expanding by law to consume more all the time. In practice, that means cutting down more trees, clearing more land, building more mines, producing more waste, and raising the temperature of the planet in the process. And it doesn't matter which political party is in office, if people are anywhere near valuable resources and they're not helping to extract them, they need to be removed, one way or another. Or maybe they don't have any resources, they're just sitting on beachfront property. To a state, you're either a worker, consumer, and taxpayer supporting the system, or you need to be punished until you behave like everyone else. If you keep fighting back, the state uses its full might to bring you down. The state might try to ruin your life just for peacefully protesting a genocide. The only way to truly prevent it would be to eliminate the state, to make it impossible for anyone to accumulate the power necessary to wipe out a whole group of people. Despite the constant threat of punishment, we should fight back. We should resist the state any way we can. The more people resist, the more will join them. You don't have to make everyone else think and identify like you, just show them wins are possible. Show them this channel. Tell them about the effects of the Tesla boycott on the company's stock. The more we stand in solidarity with the oppressed among us, the more we act to defend each other's freedom, the more we question and stand up to people who claim power over us, the less those people can get away with. Think about it. We could be part of a movement that frees people and ends genocide, but we need to act.